Coming up on Newswatch, Athens wakes up to a blanket of snow. We got a look at when we can expect more.
Plus, President Biden announces the end of national and public health emergencies for COVID-19.
And in sports, a big matchup in the TVC Hawking tonight could determine who takes the conference outright.
Good evening, I'm Madison Moore.
And I'm Morgan Anderson. Welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting southeastern Ohio. Athens woke up today in a winter wonderland after snow fell overnight across the area.
That's right, Morgan. Many here in Athens and across southeast Ohio woke up to snow on the ground, and some residents were happy to see the first big snowfall of the year and left some missing summer. The question is, how long will this snow be around and when can we expect more? Here to answer some of those questions is weather forecaster Cam Kuzno. So Cam, what kind of weather should we be expecting these next few days?
Thank you, Madison. And well, it doesn't look like we're going to be expecting much more snow.
And then Cam, what's that look like for the temperature?
Well, temperatures are going to be the bigger story as we're going to see a steep drop in temperatures over the next few days. Currently in Athens, though, it's 29 degrees and that is going to continue to drop through the night. Skies are currently overcast. Wind is going to be a little quicker today from the north-northwest at 7 miles per hour, and our barometer is going to be rising. That snow is due to this big band of precipitation we see here over the south. That made its way up through the north and into Ohio and caused the sort of mixed precipitation headache that we saw. This is going to kind of present itself as a really slow-moving cold front because this is a very, very stalled Arctic air mass that's sitting over the rest of the country. And today in Athens, we recorded a high of 34 degrees, and we're expecting a low of 18 degrees tonight under mostly cloudy skies. And for our current radar, we see another potential snow system sprouting up towards the Ozark Mountains, but those are not quite going to be expected to make their way to us. And that's all I have for our first look at the weather. Now to you, Morgan.
Thanks, Cam. Pike County sheriffs arrest a man after the deputies say they found more than 40 dead dogs on his property. Authorities say they also found 80 sick and malnourished dogs and several dead chickens on the property. The 62-year-old Wyndon Sky was arrested for cruelty to companion animals, and additional charges are possible. Pike County deputies, when they arrived at the scene, said they found one dead dog appeared to have been tied to a tractor and beaten. Sky is being held on a $40,000 bond and is due in court on February 6th. However, you may have noticed that eggs have had a heftier price tag at the grocery store. Newswatch reporter Maxton Brunke has more on how this eggflation is creating problems for local businesses.
At Union Street Diner, they use a lot of eggs.
I usually go through about 20 to 25 cases a week.
And now, with the ongoing avian influenza outbreak in the U.S., the cost of eggs have skyrocketed.
Before COVID, I was paying $9 a case, and they came in $180 per case. Right now, my company that I use for food was charging me $80 a case.
Union Street Diner co-owner Jay Shapiro has been dealing with it as best as he can, but he understands the widespread panic price spikes have caused. But some local businesses, like the Athens Bread Company, egg prices aren't a big concern.
Yeah, last year we were paying about $3.59 for a dozen eggs from a local supplier, High Bottom Farms, and yeah, he increased his prices for the new year, 2023, but it was a modest, about 12% increase.
Thanks to local farmers, ABC has escaped the effect of the countrywide epidemic. Meanwhile, Shapiro is taking a different route.
I've been going to Walmart. Is usually slightly lower than the company I'm using. Actually, we've been going driving to Marietta to get eggs because they've been like $3 to $4 case cheaper. And if I'm getting 40 cases at a time, it's saving me some money.
For Newswatch, I'm Maxton Brunke.
The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics says a dozen of large grade A eggs cost $1.78 in December of 2021. That price doubled in December of 2022 to $4.25.
South Central Power Company will receive $255 million in loans from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The loan is part of the USDA's Rural Development Electric Loan Program. South Central Power is one of the 3 companies in Ohio and one of the 64 utility companies in the country to share $2.7 billion. The money will be used to expand and modernize the country's rural electric grid.
As the end of the basketball season nears, the fight for the top of the conference is in full swing.
Hardwood Heroes reporter Maria Manessi is live from Waterford with a closer look at tonight's important TVC matchups. Maria, what can we expect?
Thank you, Morgan and Madison. We've got a lot of action on the hardwood tonight with multiple games that could have an impact on the conference standings. Taking a look at the boys, we'll start with a matchup that could decide the TVC Hawking title. I'm at Waterford High School, where Federal Hawking looks to take the conference outright with a win tonight against Waterford. Catching up with the standings, the Lancers are on a roll. It's a clear path for them as they control their own destiny from here on out. Waterford follows behind and looks to play spoiler tonight. It will be a tall task as the Lancers have put up more than 65 points in every game since December 16th. The Wildcats moved a spot above Trimble with its win over South Gallia Friday night and Trimble's loss to Southern. Trimble is also in action tonight against South Gallia. A win for the Tomcats and a Lancers loss keeps them in the race. Trimble still has to play Federal Hawking this Friday and Waterford next week. Both tough tests for them. Moving over to the TVC Ohio, where battles continue to heat up. The Benton County boys travel to Athens tonight for a classic TVC battle. The Vikings have a 6-2 conference record and remain in the lead. As the Bulldogs try and defend home court, be on the lookout for Landon Wheatley as he had a 31-point performance in a giant win for Athens against rival Alexander Friday. Speaking of Alexander, it is also in action tonight against the River Valley Raiders. It could be a big night for Kyler DiAgostino, who is just 7 points away from 2,000 career points. He has been a key contributor for the Spartans over his last 4 seasons and is knocking on the door of cementing his name in Alexander history. DiAgostino and the Spartans look to take care of business against the Raiders, who sit at the bottom of the TVC Ohio. As the regular season winds down, I'm excited to see how big matchups like this one have an impact on who's going to take home the conference crown. For all the latest, be sure to tune in to Hardwood Heroes Sunday night at 11 p.m. for all the latest on where your team stands in the conference. Now back to the desk.
Maria, I am a Hardwood Heroes fan, so I can't wait to see what happens.
Absolutely, me too. I'm so excited. West Virginia lawmakers are moving towards a ban on hormone therapy for minors in the state. The state's House Judiciary Committee voted to add the ban to a bill prohibiting gender-affirming surgery for minors. The committee's Democratic minority raised concerns about whether it could harm minors who already are at greater risk for mental health challenges. Republicans in support say they don't want to harm transgender and non-binary people, but they think minors should wait until they are older to make medical decisions for themselves. The bill now heads to the West Virginia House of Delegates. Coming up next, President Biden announces the end of COVID-19 national and public health emergencies and concerns over social media's effects on kids' mental health. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
Lucy Ware Webb was born here. As a young lady, as the wife of the governor, as the wife of the President of the United States, she's always the same person. Just a terrific lady. As residents of Chillicothe, we're very, very proud of her. To have a person of that character to represent this community, small as it is, in the White House.
Thanks to viewers like you, we've been able to tell America's stories on this PBS station. Help us continue to tell these stories now and for future generations by including this station in your charitable plans.
Supporting this PBS station through a gift of securities is easy. To find out more, call the number on your screen or visit this website. Thank you.
Inside southern Kenya lies a remote desert kingdom, home to a caste of remarkable wild creatures. They owe their existence to the largest animal here, and also the smallest. Together, elephants and termites create waterholes, animal oases that are miracles of life. This is the Waterhole Story.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
Beneath the streets of London,
Okay.
a massive construction project is underway.
Crossrail, a huge new railway for London.
How do engineers tackle such an immense challenge?
Everything has to work perfectly.
We're never complacent because that's the day it goes wrong. Wow, wow, wow. That looks fantastic.
London Supertunnel on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
Welcome back. President Biden announces the plan to end the national and public health emergencies from the COVID-19 pandemic on May 11th.
The end of these declared emergencies will mean the end of free tests and treatments for many Americans, along with other social benefits that help the nation cope with the pandemic.
Gloria Panzamino has more.
After more than 3 years, the COVID national and public health emergencies will officially expire in the U.S. on May 11th. Jen Cates, senior vice president with the Kaiser Family Foundation, says that even though some of the health and social benefits put in place at the start of the pandemic will end when these two emergency orders expire, they don't represent all of the measures put in place. There is one big change: access to free COVID home test.
Whether you are a Medicare beneficiary or Medicaid or private, that's going away with the end of the PHE. And so getting tests when you need them might be more challenging, and you probably have to pay out of pocket in full for a home test, or you might start facing cost sharing.
Kate says to expect more cost sharing around certain therapeutic treatments as well from your insurance. So who will be impacted the most once these emergencies end in May?
The uninsured and those with insufficient insurance will be the hardest hit, as has always been the case in our healthcare system. They stand to lose the most. They do not have a guaranteed access to these things.
But Kate says there is one thing to remember. Even with these declarations ending,
everyone with insurance, virtually everyone with insurance, will get free vaccines, even after the federal supply is gone, even after all of the emergency declarations are over.
In Atlanta, I'm Gloria Pasmino.
President Biden said before leaving the White House today, quote, "The COVID emergency will end when the Supreme Court ends it. We've extended it to May to make sure we get everything done."
Registered voters in Representative George Santos' district say he should resign. A new poll conducted about a week ago shows 78% of voters in New York's 3rd District want the Republican to step down, and more have an unfavorable view of him. That's according to the survey from Newsday and Siena College. The poll also shows 71% of responders who identify as Republican say they want Santos to resign. Multiple House members say Santos has made the decision to abstain from his 2 committees until his issues are resolved.
I met with George Santos yesterday, and I think it was an appropriate decision that until he can clear everything up, he's off committees right now.
However, Santos refused to confirm Tuesday morning that he has stepped down from the committee assignments.
Many social media sites allow children to join when they officially become a teenager. But the U.S. Surgeon General believes 13 is still too young to be on those platforms. Mandy Gaither has more on how to know when your child is ready for online social sites and how families can make a social media plan.
In early teen years, the U.S. Surgeon General says kids are still developing their identity, and social media can have a major impact.
The skewed and often distorted environment of social media often does a disservice to many of those children.
That's why Dr. Vivek Murthy says 13 is still too young for kids to be on social media, but keeping them off those sites may be easier said than done.
It depends on your child. You know your child best.
Pediatric psychologist Ariana Hoet with Nationwide Children's Hospital says deciding whether a child is ready for social media starts with these questions. Do you have an open and trusting relationship with your child? Will they respect boundaries and expectations you set? Will they come to you if there's a problem or concern? Also consider their personality.
Do they really care about what others think about them? Or are they comfortable in their identity? How are they with peer pressure? Because again, social media is kind of opening the world to all of that.
If you answer those questions and feel they're ready, Howitt says to set up a family social media plan.
And you talk about the safety, you talk about what you're posting, how to interact with others, who you're following, and keep checking in with the child.
And set limits. Consider taking devices away at bedtime so sleep isn't affected.
Being ready doesn't mean I'm going to give them access to this thing and walk away. You still want to think about, how do I monitor? How do I continue to stay in a partnership with them on how they're using it?
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
If your child is struggling with a mental health issue, Howitt says those are extra considerations to think about when it comes to social media use. A deadly winter storm makes its way across the country. That story is still ahead.
And for us here in Athens, we know temperatures are going to drop, but to what extent and when are we going to see some warmer weather again? That and more in my full forecast after the break. Have a look at Newswatch on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
We are at Adena Mansion and Gardens. This is where Ohio history began. They're in their writing, talking all night long about what they wanted Ohio to be. What type of state did they want Ohio to be? They wrote the Constitution, came out and saw the sun coming up over the Mount Logan Range. That is the inspiration for the Great Seal of Ohio.
Thanks to viewers like you, we've been able to tell America's stories on this PBS station. Help us continue to tell these stories now and for future generations by including this station in your charitable plans.
Supporting this PBS station through a charitable gift annuity is easy. To find out more, call the number on your screen or visit this website. Thank you.
On Secrets of the Dead.
Welcome to the Dark Ages.
An era of violence and chaos.
There's plagues, there's civil war, the Saxons are just slaughtering everybody.
Did the mythical King Arthur rise from this moment to unite Britain?
Caliban, is that Excalibur?
Were the Dark Ages far different and far more prosperous than believed?
This is people living well. This is people living very well.
King Arthur's Lost Kingdom on Secrets of the Dead.
Wednesday at 10 on WOUB.
In southern Kenya lies a remote desert kingdom, home to a caste of remarkable wild creatures. They owe their existence to the largest animal here, and also the smallest. Together, elephants and termites create waterholes, animal oases that are miracles of life. This is the waterhole story.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Newswatch forecaster Cam Kuzno, and I'm certain all of you have noticed that we had a wonderful blanket of snow over us this morning. This is because of this big system right over here that's sort of pushing its way north. This is the last 24 hours worth of satellite, and that began to make its way into our region, and that caused both some ice and some snow. This is going to be because of a big, cold Arctic air mass that is sort of stalled over the United States right now. And that's going to present itself here as sort of a stationary front or even a slow-moving cold front, as that big, cold air mass is going to continue to make its way down south a little bit. Our local radar right now is going to show mostly clear around us, but there's going to be a little bit of storms popping up over the Ozark Mountains in Arkansas. Those storms are not quite expected to reach southeast Ohio tonight, though. Tonight in Athens, we're going to see a low of 18 degrees under mostly cloudy skies as high pressure is going to build behind this big cold air mass. Sunrise tomorrow morning is going to be at 7:33 a.m. Tomorrow in Athens, we're expecting a high of 34 degrees and a low temperature of 21 degrees. And those low temperatures are going to continue to trend downward and downward. But High pressure is going to be building up behind that cold air mass, and we're going to see some sun tomorrow, which is going to be a nice change of pace for how things have been the past couple of days. So there's the high pressure you can see. This is going to be called an Arctic high pressure, and it is going to cause lots of cold sinking air to settle into the region and be really unpleasant for everyone. By tomorrow night, a few secondary high systems develop, and then the story doesn't quite change for Thursday. Let's have a look for Athens over the weekend. Friday, we're expecting mostly sunny skies with a high temperature of 27 and a frigid low temperature of 11 degrees. So make sure you're cautious if you're out Friday night. Then by Saturday, we finally see an end to that cold trend, and we see things start to warm up just a little bit here. Then by Sunday, that trend is going to continue with a high of 35 degrees and low of 26 degrees. And then that warming trend is going to sort of have the opposite effect happen. We're going to get lots of warm air rushing in from the Gulf. We're going to have a high temperature of 48 degrees on Monday and a low of 31. And then we'll finally be completely above freezing by Tuesday with a high of 51 and a low of 41. And a potential weather-making system will happen. We have a 50% chance of rain forecast. And that's all I have for our full look at the weather. Now, back to Madison Moore with some more details about how that winter storm affected the country.
Thank you, Cam. A winter storm that has parts of the south and central U.S. in an icy grip is expected to intensify over the next 24 to 48 hours. Freezing temperatures and ice accumulation are canceling flights and bringing some highways to a standstill. Karen Kafa has more on the deadly storm.
More than 40 million people from southeastern New Mexico to West Virginia are under various winter weather alerts. At least 2 people were killed in separate accidents in Texas, where forecasters say ice buildup will be the heaviest into Thursday. Slick roadways kept semis at a standstill near Fort Worth and toppled this sand truck not far away. Worsening conditions snarled sky traffic, too, with more than 3,000 related U.S. flight delays and cancellations, according to FlightAware. That wasn't a surprise to some awaiting flights in Dallas.
We were taking a trip to a conference in Orlando, and I looked at the weather before we left, and I told my wife, I said, I have a feeling flights might get canceled. Should I do this or not? But I went ahead and did it anyway, and lo and behold, flights got canceled.
The National Weather Service in Fort Worth says refreezing slush from Monday's accumulation will only worsen anticipated ice buildup. Officials are asking those in the affected areas to stay hunkered down, but if you must venture out, AAA says at least slow down.
Give yourself enough time and enough space between you and the vehicle in front of you. Often what we see when we see a car in the ditch in these winter weather situations, it's a driver who was in too much of a hurry. They were going too fast and didn't give themselves enough time to react.
I'm Karen Kafa reporting.
The storm is expected to dissipate by Thursday afternoon. And after the break, how local high schools are now integrating esports into the mix. That story when Newswatch returns. But first, here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
In southern Kenya lies a remote desert kingdom, home to a cast of remarkable wild creatures. They owe their existence to the largest animal here, and also the smallest. Together, elephants and termites create water holes, animal oases that are miracles of life. This is the Waterhole Story.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
Black Americans created a world on the other side of the color line, a world behind the veil.
Black people create spaces where we can be seen by each other. Sometimes you just want to celebrate how dope it is to be black.
Friday at 9 on WOUB.
Do you think that's the key thing missing in the conversation about climate change?
Learn a lot about the African American experience.
It's your palate, it's your taste, it's how you like to cook.
Look at all the colors.
Discovering stories of people.
Voices will be heard today.
People really see the message.
Such a shared experience.
The choice is yours.
You make the decision.
With Passport on the PBS Video app.
He was bigger than boxing.
Muhammad Ali was the most important man in the world.
He was larger than life.
His magnetism just was amazing. Who is this guy?
He was a revolutionary. He was a groundbreaker.
What are they going to say about that now, huh?
Ken Burns captures an intimate story of victory, defeat, and determination.
The price of freedom comes high. I have paid, but I am free.
Muhammad Ali, only on PBS.
Thursday at 9.
Welcome back. 250, that is the number of high school esports teams in the state, including some in Southeast Ohio. Those teams are going to be receiving extra support from an important organization.
Newswatch reporter Jack Demler has more information about the exciting news coming out of esports.
That has never happened before in our placement tournaments. That is insane.
When Dylan Euler first joined the Jackson East Sport Club his freshman year, he didn't play any of the games they offered.
And then I just started playing and got decent enough to join the varsity level.
Now, he's a team captain. Dylan is just one of 50 players on the Jackson East Sport team. His time with the team allowed him to build strong friendships and play at a competitive level. The Jackson East Sport team competes against other Ohio high schools who are a part of East Sport Ohio, a nonprofit organization created by teachers who wanted to provide students an opportunity to be a part of a school team.
Esports has grown increasingly popular at the high school level, such as here at Jackson High School, that even the Ohio High School Athletic Association is beginning to provide support.
On January 17th, the OHSAA announced they were teaming up with eSport Ohio to support and promote its annual state tournament held in May. The support has team administrator Eric Siders and many others hopeful for what this could mean for esports as a whole.
That legitimacy with parents, though, would be a good thing to have, so parents know that this isn't just their kids playing video games. There are constructive skills and there are benefits to playing esports in this competitive way.
Siders says while he doesn't know what the support will look like, he's hopeful esports will soon be on the same level as other recognized sports like basketball and volleyball. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Jack Demler in Jackson.
The esports season will go from the end of January to the middle of March with a state tournament on May 20th held at the University of Akron.
Yes, now let's hope a team for Southeast East Ohio makes it.
Fingers crossed, I hope so.
Yes. Now we're going to toss to Cam for a look at your final weather.
Thank you, Madison. And tonight we're expecting a low of 18 degrees, and that is going to continue to trend downward as the week progresses under some mostly cloudy skies. And sunset tonight was at 5:48 p.m., and we'll see sunrise tomorrow at 7:33. Tomorrow in Athens, we're expecting a high of 34 degrees and a low of 21 degrees. And by Thursday, high pressure is going to continue into the region and cause the cooling trend to continue. And then later in the week, for the weekend, we see things start to warm up just a little bit by Saturday and Sunday, with it peaking in Tuesday. And that's all I have for your full look at the weather.
Thank you so much, Cam. And finally tonight, keep an eye out for an unusual light in the sky. A recently discovered green comet is set to zoom past Earth for the first time in 50,000 years. Astronomers first discovered the icy celestial object last March. They think the last time the comet was visible in the night sky was during the Stone Age. Its orbit passes through the outer reaches of the solar system, which is why it's taken such a long time to swing by our planet again. The comet will make its closest pass to the Earth between Wednesday and Thursday and will appear as a faint green smudge near the North Star.
I don't know about YouTube. I'm going to be out on Court Street with my telescope looking for that green light.
Absolutely.
I'm going to have to get a telescope first, but I'll be right there with you.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For all of us here at Newswatch, I'm Morgan Anderson.
I'm Madison Moore. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WUB.org or follow us on social media. Have a great night.